Your midnight movie this week is Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1978, directed by Philip Kaufman, with an absolutely stacked cast from the 70s. This is actually a remake of the 1956 film Invasion of the Body Snatchers, both films based on the novel The Body Snatchers by Jack Finney, which I actually now have on my bedside table that I want to read. This film, Invasion of the Body Snatchers 78, was something that aired, again, on local Chicago TV. I say this a lot when I was a kid, and it always scared the hell out of me. I could not watch this movie until I was probably in my late teens, about that. And wow, it really inverts a lot of the expectations of the 56 film. And the 56 film, I think, is really effective. It's really paranoid. It's scary. It's Dutch angles. It's paranoia. It leans a lot on sort of the Red Scare of the 50s. But the 78 film, while it does all of those things too, it's set in San Francisco, shot a lot at night. It is a really beautiful use of a lot of noir. I would say even more effective than the 56 film in that it injects a lot of sort of more modern sensibilities in the 70s than you had in the 50s. You have an incredible cast, and here we go. Jeff Goldblum, Donald Sutherland, Brooke Adams, Veronica Cartwright, and Leonard Nimoy. Old Spock is in this film. And basically the plot revolves around Donald Sutherland's character, who is a health inspector, who is, he's just doing his job and not necessarily liked for it. He is close friends with Brooke Adams' character and her husband, and they work together in the Department of Health, and you could tell they're kind of sweet on each other. They like each other. And they don't really move on it. They're respectful. The character of Brooke Adams, she's walking to work one day, walking through the park, and she sees sort of like an odd sort of flower pod. And, she's into botany and biology and all that stuff. And so she grabs it. It smells really good. She brings it with her. She can't seem to find it in any books, any texts, and she puts it in a glass of water and just kind of keeps it by the bedside of her and her husband. And within about a day, she's talking to her husband, and he seems rather cold. They have plans for the night, and he had plans for the night. He seems to have forgotten and decides he has to go to a meeting. And she's like, no, but we had plans. We were going to go do this. And she tries to embrace him, and he's like physically and emotionally just very cold. And over the course of several days, she's really freaked out by the fact that her husband or her lover doesn't seem to be the guy he was just a couple of days ago, and it's really messing with her. So she's talking to Donald Sutherland's character, and just like, this sounds weird, this sounds crazy, but it's not him. And over the course of maybe the first, third, maybe fourth of the movie, Donald Sutherland starts encountering people that are behaving strangely. He goes to get his dry cleaning from a local Chinese dry cleaner, and the man who runs the business, he's like, you're a doctor, aren't you? To Donald Sutherland, and Donald Sutherland was like, I'm not a doctor, I'm a health inspector. He pulls Sutherland over. It's like, something's wrong with my wife. He's like, well, what do you mean? Like, she's acting strangely. He's like, well, that happens. And he's like, no, that's not my wife. Sutherland's like, what are you talking about? And we gaze over, point of view from the camera, and we see the wife being very strange, just hawking, just like not blinking at all, and then moving to like the back room somewhere. So this sort of happens over the course of the movie, as Sutherland and Brooke Adams' character start, connecting with Veronica Cartwright and Jeff Goldblum's character. They just slowly realize people are just acting really odd. People at work, people on the street, and so forth. And the movie sort of spiderwebs, if you will, this greater conspiracy of this section by section of San Francisco just getting really odd. What I didn't mention was at the top of the film, and this is not a spoiler at all, we actually start somewhere on some other planet, like deep within the ocean of another planet. We see the sort of microbial, bacterial forms of life. that sort of bubble up to the top of some primordial sea on some planet far, far away. And we see these bacteria, microbiomes, microbes, whatever they are, sort of float off the top of that water, go up into the air, up into the stratosphere of this planet, and into space. Caught by a cosmic wind, blown across galaxies, who knows how far, for how long, and then eventually reaching the ionosphere of Earth, falling through. We hear the crash of thunder and rain. Cut to, it's raining in San Francisco. And we see leaves and this sort of weird growth appearing on the foliage and trees and growing really, really fast. And what do you know? A little pod forms, and from that pod, a beautiful flower, much like the flower that Brooke Adams found on her way to work. So, yeah, it really plants the panspermia concept of this creature, whatever it is, life form, coming from outer space, then setting up, again, people encountering these pods, these flowers, people starting to, sort of change, becoming... But they emote, but they don't emote the way normal people do. And then one by one, slowly over the course of the film, we see sort of the walls collapsing and closing in on us, getting really tight and dark. As the movie goes on, it almost feels like the frame of the movie gets smaller. As the frame of the movie gets smaller, the movie gets lit more darkly. The light that's used is more selective. It really does become a kind of film noir. And you just feel like there's this slow burn. Like, they say, you put a frog in a pot, you slowly turn up the temperature over time, it doesn't even realize it's being boiled. That's the experience of suspense, the paranoia that this film gives you. And because it's shot in the 70s, and I worship at the altar of 70s films, you have these great textures and grit and, Panavision lenses and, what are they called? There's real atmospheric techniques for these films. The practical special effects are amazing for 1978. I remember seeing this film again as a teenager in my 20s and really being impressed by, there's certain effects you'll see in this movie like, whoa, how did they do that in 78? They had just sort of really pushed the envelope with Star Wars a year before in 77. Well, they did. And I'll be damned if it doesn't hold up in 2026. We really get to know this group of friends as people. They're so believable. You watch as, again, everything sort of closes in on them and how each one of them deals with it. You have the Veronica Cartwright's character. She loves to read sci-fi novels, and so she is kind of the brain. She's the theoretician, if you will, of this group. You have Jeff Goldblum, who is very much, very emotional. He is accepting what's going on, but sort of not accepting. He's not in a great place in his life. Leonard Nimoy's character is sort of the cold, cerebral type. He's a therapist. He's dropping a book, so he's kind of, he's in the middle of promoting something he's been building on, and, he sees a lot of these things as maybe people imagining what's going on. Brooke Adams clearly knows what's going on. Her dude is not her dude anymore. He has changed. Sutherland believes her and begins to see it around him himself. He tries to reach out to city officials and even tries to reach out to a friend in Washington to see what he can do because, again, things are closing. As we go along in the film, things really start to close in around them. And it is just so masterfully shot. The angles, the perspectives, the POVs. This is an absolutely fantastic film. And I've watched most of the remakes of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I have not seen the 1993 version of it yet, so I might feel differently. But I think this is the best version of it, the most effective one. And if you watch them, you'll see. I think this one really stands out because while it does play along in the narrative the way I think audiences would expect, it really does play against expectations in the most beautiful way. It is heavy on suspense and heavy on paranoia. It is not necessarily a graphic movie. It's very psychological. It plays on your emotions of how you would feel if you were in these situations, and it does so with an incredible director. The cinematography is fantastic. The practical effects, again, I can't believe this is 1978. And an amazing, super talented young cast. Everybody knows Jeff Goldblum, and I know people know Donald Sutherland. They might not know these other folks, but all these folks had pretty consistent careers. They work consistently, and man, it's just really good. So if you know what's good for you, check out Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 1978. This is another one that if you are a member of YouTube Premium, this and a ton of other movies are free. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, The Last Man on Earth, Westworld, Magnificent Seven, Charade. So many great classic movies available for premium members. But let me know, what did you think? Is Invasion of the Body Snatchers 78 the best make for this story? Let me know in the comments below. If you've hung with me this long, please hit like, subscribe, and share. And I'll see yous in the next one. Bye.